So Allison, look, I'm really sorry. You were saying something important the other day and we got cut off. I had to go.
Right.
But you were in the middle of saying something. So what,
Yeah.
I mean, what were you saying?
Well, I was saying, because I had a problem with a student. And so I was saying what happened with this student. And I wanted to get your advice, what you would have said. And maybe if you can tell me what I should say to this student.
What was the student saying?
Well, the student said, I said, did everybody do their homework? And she said, no, I didn't do my homework. And then I said, well, why didn't you do your homework? And she said, I'm not going to do my homework anymore. And I said, really? Well, why not? And she said, because I'm not learning. And it's impossible for me to learn English.
Did she really say that?
She said this in front of the whole class. Incredible. And of course, nobody else said anything. They all sat there.
Who would dare say that?
Yeah. And then so I said, well, you know, Pilar, you have to try and you have to keep working. It's something that you have to keep practicing. And I said, you don't learn overnight. But she insisted. She continued to say over and over again, she repeated, I feel like I'm not learning and I don't feel like there's any hope.
I don't know.
She ultimately said she was hopeless.
I don't know what I would have said if I were you.
You don't know what you would have said? I was hoping you would have something you would have said.
I probably would have said, look, that homework is essential.
Yeah.
Know, because doing homework is just as important as class time.
Right.
And I think an hour of homework is equally as important as an hour of class, or maybe even more important than an hour of class time.
Has a student ever said something like this to you?
Well, sometimes it's funny. I always laugh when I ask my students, I say, did you do your homework? And they say, more or less. When they say more or less, that means, no, I didn't do my homework at all.
Right, yeah.
And they say that a lot.
They say more or less a lot, yeah. Do people in Canada say more or less so frequently?
No, not as frequently as in Spain.
No. What would they say instead?
Well, in this case, in the case of the homework, we all know that they didn't do the homework.
Right.
They say more or less. They might say, well, I did some of it, or I tried.
Or kinda?
Kind of, yeah, kind of.
Did you do your homework? Kinda. So they might say kinda or sorta.
Yeah.
We might say that. I think in Colorado and in the States, I think we would say kinda or sorta. Yeah. So I don't know. What should I say to this lady? What should I say to her the next class we have? Because I'm dreading. I don't know what to say.
I think you're going to have to say something about the importance of homework.
Yeah.
And in the learning process, if she's saying that she's not learning anything, then it's because of her effort.
Right.
Because the rest of the class is learning.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job teaching, as always.
Yeah.
And if she's saying that she's not learning, it's because she's not making the effort.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to say something. You're going to have to say, listen, you've got to do your homework every day.
Yeah.
And stop saying these negative comments in front of the class.
That's the other thing, because when we have a saying in English, like one rotten apple spoils a whole bunch. That's not exactly the saying. I can't remember the saying. Do you remember?
Yeah, a rotten apple spoils the bunch.
Yeah.
So it really says something about her personality, doesn't it?
Right. It says a lot about her personality.
That says to me that she's a quitter.
Yeah, but I can't say that to her.
It says to
I can't say to her, I think you're a quitter.
Well, it says to me that she's not a hard worker.
No, you're right. All the things that you're saying are true, but I can't say that to her.
You're going to have to say something to her.
I'm going to have to say something, but I need to say something that'll motivate her. Yeah. What do you say to motivate your students anyway?
Well, I just talk about the importance of the language itself. Well, they know that.
Yeah.
But we talk about how really mastering the simple things are important, and just making sure that they're 100% confident with the simple things, and then they usually feel good because they understand me when I'm speaking.
Right. They understand what you're saying.
Yeah. They understand what I'm saying, and they usually get motivated by realizing, hey, I'm having a conversation in English.
Yeah.
I understand this.
Yeah.
I'm doing all right. They know what I'm saying. I know what they're saying. They're doing all right. So as long as you give positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing you can do. The best thing you can say to them is just, a lot of positive things.
Well, I think that you're saying a lot of good stuff, and I'm going to take it all on board. Now, interesting. Yeah, that's great. I was going to ask you something else. I can't remember now.
No?
No, I can't remember what I was going to say. I was going to say something.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something here that happened to me, and something that a guy said to me on the metro the other day. I was on the metro. I bumped into a guy on the subway. Right?
Okay.
I bumped into a guy just because I was going out the door.
Right.
And it was really tight. So I touched him, and he said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he called me look, I'm not even going to say.
Yeah, don't even say it.
I'm not going to say.
Bad.
I'm not going to say what he said.
Yeah, but basically he said a bad word.
You know what I'm saying?
He said something rude.
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Yeah. I hear you loud and clear.
So well, to be honest,
So what did you say? Did you say anything at all?
I just didn't say anything.
But had you said, before he got angry, had you said, I'm sorry, or excuse me, or perdón, or did you not have time to say anything?
Yeah, I said, excuse me.
You said, excuse me? And then he said...
You know what I did? I said, excuse me in English. I was thinking in English, and it would just happen so fast. I said, oh, excuse me.
Oh, right.
I said it in English, but obviously...
Yeah.
I should have said it in Spanish, but...
So he heard you say it in English, and maybe he thought, this foreigner is here.
And then he started, oh, this foreigner, you know, and...
He probably thought you wouldn't understand what he was saying.
Maybe, but
he probably thought you wouldn't understand the Spanish.
I knew perfectly well what he was saying.
Of course, yeah.
What would you have said if you had been in my place?
I would have said, I'm really sorry, sir. And then, or you
but
know
even
what?
After he said
That's
all
what
those
I'm saying right now. I think I would have kept walking.
He said a lot of nasty things. I wouldn't have said anything.
I bet I wouldn't have said anything. A lot of times when we look at situations in the past, we say, I would have said this, or I would have done this.
Yeah.
But the truth is, a lot of times, we don't know what we would say in the moment.
Yeah.
You know, what we think we would say isn't what we say when the time comes.
Yeah.
A lot of times we think in an emergency we'll say or do something. But when the emergency happens, we don't say or do what we think. I know what I was going to ask you. Do people say that your accent is difficult to understand? Your students, do they say that?
No, people say that my accent is quite clear.
Yeah, I think your accent is quite clear, and I would say the same thing.
Well, thank you. Yeah. People say that my accent is quite clear and that I'm fairly easy to understand. What about you? People
say the same thing. People say that my accent is rather clear, and they say that they understand me well, which is great.
I think you and I both say things pretty clearly.
I think so, yeah. I think I started saying things more clearly when I moved to Spain.
Look, what do you say we go get a drink?
Yeah, that sounds good. I could use something more than water.